a lot of people have made predictions that were pretty awful too. How do you, when you're looking at technology, kind of separate this is kind of crazy stuff, this is Jetson stuff that's never going to happen, versus, you know what, I think this actually has some legs and this really is the way the future.
So I don't think it's that easy to do anymore, and that's really my primary point, because I think this is an important point that maybe not everybody shares this perspective. So if this adds value, I'll just say briefly that the ability to predict where things are headed has been narrowing over the course of time, dramatically. Like 3,000 years ago in ancient Egypt, you or I would have made a good prediction about where the world was headed in the next 100 years or so. We'd say our grandkids or great-grandkids, they'll probably be farming, and irrigation will be important, and the Nile will want that to overrun its banks, and you would have made a good call. But as you fast forward through time, and I grew up in the 1970s, and I would say back then you could have made about a 20 to 25-year prediction decently. That's why for people who were doing it 50 years ahead of time in the 1960s, that's really impressive to me. By the time we reached I'm going to say 93, and here's a specific reason why, because there was an AT&T campaign in 1993, which you can watch on YouTube, and this one's definitely there, and I highly recommend it. Go Google 1993 AT&T ads. They were saying things like, how would you like to drive across the country without a map? You will, and AT&T will bring you there. And it was a series of ads where they were looking at life 10 years ahead of time, and literally within about 10 years, 1993 to 2003, GPS systems were in cars and ubiquitous. So you go back and watch those ads, it's hilarious because they totally nailed it. Of course, what's hilarious is AT&T didn't bring us any of those things. They had Bell Labs, they had people who could see it, but they literally didn't create things like GPS. So I would say the window had narrowed to 10 years. I would say today it's more like 3 to 5 years now. So if you think about that and the implications of that, you're seeing that it's increasingly difficult specifically to know or say with confidence what the world will be like 5 years from today. It's much harder than it ever has been in the course of human history. So I just think that's a profound point to recognize. For me, the investment implications as somebody who's trying to pick stocks within this is, don't think about the trends so much or specific products. Ask yourself, who are the people that I want to be invested in? You mentioned, was it the World's Fair? What was it that you were quoting from?
This is from around 1964's World Fair.
Yeah, it was the World Fair. So I was reading a book recently about the 1876 Centennial Exhibition, which was kind of the same thing. It was 100 years after the founding of America, and Alexander Graham Bell was there in a very small room. Think of like Consumer Electronics Show today, where there's like thousands of yards and lots of rooms everywhere. It was kind of like that back then in 1876. By the way, the Statue of Liberty's hand, that was all that was completed, and it was there, about 20 feet tall. Just the hand was on. But Alexander Graham Bell was there, being largely ignored, and he had the telephone, and he was showing off to people. So I'm not even sure really where I'm going with that, other than to say that it was a lot easier back then to kind of see where the world was headed. But the answer is, invest in Alexander Graham Bell. Invest in Elon Musk. Find the people, Reed Hastings, Jeff Bezos. Find the people who truly are creating the future. That's a much more, to me, a sustainable way to invest successfully than to try to guess whether Roomba 4 is going to start to go autonomous and start
take
taking over your house.